strength-wise, and I kind of thought, some of those numbers weren't going to happen. Then when it came around to doing, they were actually all quite easy, really. I mean, most of them flew up pretty good. So
yeah, you put people through.
That should have worked. That's because I believe in you, Mark.
Oh.
Yeah, you put people through a lot of. You just got really giddy. Through a lot of volume. I ran, just a sample program of yours for my squat maybe a year ago or so, and I was dieting at the time too, and I still gained some strength. It's just well thought out, well planned.
Yeah, volume. People are scared to turn up the volume sometimes, but it works. That's why.
We'll turn it up on our Adele and our squats.
But yeah, that's probably the most important thing to building strength and building size.
And practice.
Definitely. And I think the only thing that I often see people running off course with when it comes to volume is timing the volume compared to competition. That they're doing too much volume too close to competition. They're not cutting that down and able to decay their fatigue before they compete, so they're just going on a little fatigue. Yeah, as much testosterone, aren't able to hold on to their fitness as long, so they need to keep their volume up closer to the meet. So even like really highly qualified female lifters of like a 148 class, she's probably going to need maybe a 4-day taper compared to a 148 class man is going to need maybe a 6-day taper.
Obviously it depends on per person also, but these are general.
Yeah, like I said, it's size of the lifter, strength of the lifter, experience or like proximity to their career peak, and then maybe 1 day plus or minus is based on inter or intra individual differences.
Intergalactic.
Everyone wants to know what about drugs? Drug lifters, non-drug lifters.
Yeah, it definitely, of course, it makes a difference. I'd be lying if I said it didn't, but it doesn't make the difference that people think because anabolics are going to allow the athlete to retain their fitness longer, but also decay their fatigue faster. So if it only allowed them to keep their fitness longer, then they'd have to train heavier, closer, or they could train lighter for a longer time.
Yeah, a month out they could stop.
But those two ideas kind of cancel each other out. So I think that's a big mistake that I see a lot of people making, particularly a lot of USAPL lifters. They think they need to train higher volume closer to the meet compared to what a drug using
cheater.
Yeah, I don't know a ton of the science behind all of it, but I don't believe that like a steroid necessarily does a whole lot for like your nervous system. Is that kind of fair to say?
Yeah, neural recovery it wouldn't really help.
So people talk about recovery all the time, from anabolic steroids, and I think that people that are natural or people that just aren't in the circle or don't really know much about it, I think that you just become almost indestructible, and that you recover, that you don't ever get sore. And none of those things are true. You still actually get very sore. It still may take you 3 to 5 days to recover from a new training stimulus of some sort. And your nervous system is not really affected all that much differently than somebody else's. Now, maybe having more muscle mass on and being more explosive, you can maybe say, now you are playing with a different set of rules. You're enhanced.
Yeah.
And so just overall, your performance may be a little bit better. I totally understand all that. But it's not real. Like when they talk about recovery.
Let's try to get some analogies. Tell me how off I am.
I think they think that you're going to recover, though, from like a heavy session, like in like 1 day.
Yeah, but
you're not.
So there's engines, and then there's supercharged engines. The supercharged engine maybe can run a little hotter, a little harder, but it also needs to cool off a little bit more. Getting there?
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment because...
But it's not night and day. I mean, a supercharged whatever Corvette and a regular Corvette need the same fucking fuel, they need the same fucking this, they need the same amount of recovery between races so they don't blow a fucking gasket.
But you're also more likely to blow up a supercharger.
But maybe you'll blow up the supercharger a little bit quicker if you run it too hard.
Yeah, because every time that supercharged engine runs, it's more stressful.
Right. If we have the same tires, I love this. Dude, we're fucking killing this thing. If we have the same tires,
steroid car.
Yeah, the supercharged engine's gonna fucking rip off those tires maybe a little bit quicker or sooner than not. That's all.
Yeah. So if we're driving the Trendmobile around,
yeah. What if we put Trend in a fucking Corvette?
Has anyone ever tried that?
I'll try it right now.
More like put Trend into a Dodge Neon. You'll blow those tires off, the axle.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, twist the frame.
Whole thing just split apart.
Fuck you, Fast and Furious.
That's like Fast and like extra fast and roid rage.
Instead of NOS, it's just trend.
But basics are tapering may be a little bit different if you're on enhancement drugs, but training can be very similar. I get that question all the time.
I was actually going to say that the tapering, I think, is going to be more similar than people think, because you you maintain fitness longer and decay fatigue faster.
What does decay fatigue mean?
Just recover.
Okay.
Recover faster.
There you
I just like the fancy words. It makes me feel smart.
It's a question of how shitty do you feel or how good do you feel.
Yeah.
It's a half empty, half full.
Yeah, I have an article I wrote called Snowflake Training that addresses all these
Okay.
an intro.
Working on 10 sets of 2 with the speed. I went for 185.
And how to go about choosing,
trying to hit
different factors
50% of 360. So clearly 185 is a little more than 365, especially with the band weight at the top. However, because it is still lightweight, between 40 and 70%, you can use that as speed work.